Do you wait for everything to be perfect and lined up straight before you make a choice? How hard are you trying to get everything in your life right? What if jumping in and getting messy is one of the ways to find out what works for you? Discover how being willing to mess up can create the phenomenal life you truly desire. Get ready to quit judging and start embracing all of your messy adventures. Now, here's your host, self-declared messy living expert, Petrina Fava.
Hey, and welcome. I am Petrina Fava, the host of Messy Adventures in Living. Thank you so much for joining me on this call. I'm so grateful to have you here listening, participating in our online chat room, or just contributing your energy to today's topic of discussion. Thank you now or in the future. So even if you're listening later, know that you are contributing your energy to this show, and I am grateful. Thank you. So, Messy Adventures in Living, what is that? Have you been here before? If you haven't, here's a little bit about what this show is about. On Messy Adventures in Living, we like to talk about all kinds of things. Specifically, like to look at all of the very interesting beliefs and points of view that we pick up along the way over the course of our lives and look at how they are creating limitation instead of possibility. Conclusions, decisions, beliefs that we have, they all close doors and put us into a tight box without any windows to see the possibilities through. And you know what? There's something else. When you can come away from drawing any kind of conclusion and seeing everything as just interesting, not right or wrong, just, that's interesting, and ask a question instead of drawing a conclusion, like, is this actually true for me, or is this just something that I bought as true? When you start asking questions instead of functioning from conclusion, you begin to open doors and open windows and let the light in and open the doors to possibility. You start to see possibilities that you didn't even know existed. You didn't know with your brain, that is, existed. You didn't think about them. When you start asking questions, you start to see the possibilities that you couldn't conceive of with your mind. You start to tap into your awareness. And then when you start using your awareness, all kinds of awesome stuff can show up. So on Messy Adventures in Living, I like to explore questions that will create possibility in your life and in my life and in our lives, and really smash those conclusions that close us into a box. And there are so many of them. I've realized how much we really function from conclusion. They're so sneaky. They're so insidious. They are absolutely everywhere. Good conclusions, bad conclusions. We totally function from conclusion. And what else is possible? What if we could function from question instead? So I'm Petrina Fava, and here are some of the ways that I like to show up and play in the world. I am a registered nurse. I work in Toronto. I am a pediatric nurse. I work at the Hospital for Sick Children here. I'm also a mom of 3 kids who keep me hopping and keep me looking inward and looking at myself every minute of every day. Oh, trust me. They are 12 and 9 and 6, and they're awesome. I also am an access consciousness, bars and body process facilitator. I also am a facilitator of Bright Body for You, which is Bright Body for You Intros, which is a class that's part of the Access Consciousness. So if you've never heard of Access, it is a modality that really empowers you to tap into your awareness and encourages you to look at functioning from the question, like we were talking about before, instead of functioning from conclusion, which is really how we've learned to make decisions in our lives. It's very cool. It's very weird, and I like it. And you can find out more about it at accessconsciousness.com. We will be using some of the tools of Access on this show, and I'll talk about them and explain them briefly if you've never heard them before. What else do I do? What else do I play with? So actually, I also have my own business creating a very cool 100% natural body products. And if you are interested in checking those out, you can look at naturallyhappybody.com. I make them all myself, right here in my kitchen, handmade. They are awesome. If you have anything going on with your skin, or even if you don't actually, they're great to use for yourself and all of your family. Naturallyhappybody.com. Check it out if you like. All right. Enough about me. Let's look at what we're talking about today. So our topic for today is called quitting or choosing. What is that all about, you might be asking? Well, does this sound like you? You can't stay at any one job for very long. And just when you start getting good at one thing, you see something bright and shiny in the corner and you become interested in something else. When you were a kid, you wanted to learn guitar, then piano, then trumpet, then drums, then guitar again. You seem to jump from one thing to the next and never stick to one thing. You wonder why that business you started a few years ago with so much enthusiasm is suddenly boring. You find that your relationships just don't last. You can't seem to stick to a long-term relationship. So do you quit too easily? Have you been accused of this? Have you been judged for this? Are you judging yourself for quitting too easily? Or do you have a high level of creativity and a low tolerance for boredom? Are you a quitter or a chooser? So what does this bring up for you? Why are you here? Why have you clicked on play on this show? What is it about this topic that is hot for you, or that's stirring something in your world? Have you been judging yourself as being a quitter? Have other people judged you as being a quitter? Have people told you that you give up too easily, that you don't stick to one thing, that you just jump from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next? What is that saying? Jack of all trades, master of none. And how long have you made yourself wrong for this? So now I challenge you to ask a question, and this question could be, what's right about this that you're not getting? And is it possible that you have a capacity that you're not willing to acknowledge because other people in the world have judged it as a wrongness? So is there a capacity here that you're not willing to acknowledge? So let's just get started clearing all this energy, because there's already a ton of energy on here. So everything that brings up, everywhere you have judged yourself for being a quitter because you like bright, shiny things and because you can see all of the cool and interesting things in the world and you want to try all of them, everywhere you've judged yourself as being a quitter, will you please destroy and uncreate all of that? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyond. Okay, so let's just, what is that I just said? So if you've never heard that before, that is the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. It is short form for a very long explanation of energies, really. What we do is ask, will you destroy and uncreate that? When we talk about something and it brings up a whole bunch of energy, there's a whole bunch of charge on it for you, we ask you to destroy and uncreate it because it's a limitation and it's creating limitation in your life. And you don't have to say yes. You can say no if you want. And then right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyond is short form for all the energies underneath that. And the idea is that it's just kind of like a magic wand. You just clear it, you say it, and all of the energy starts to become clear. You can find a more detailed explanation for the clearing statement at theclearingstatement.com. It actually has its own website. How cool is that? Okay. So quitting. So what is quitting and what is choosing something different? What is the difference between those two things? There's a ton of judgment around being a quitter, right? Look at all the judgment in this reality that surrounds quitting and being a quitter or giving up. Basically the presumption is that you're really a big loser if you give up. And you again, you'll hear me talk a lot about judgment on this show, and it's really because I get how much destruction judgment can create in your life, and it's really insidious. There's so many little places that we use judgment as a tool in our lives, except that when we use judgment as a tool, it never really creates greater. It just creates a whole bunch of crap. Worrying about the judgment of others doesn't really allow us to choose what we know will create something greater. And so, a lot of judgment surrounds this topic. It's really the basis of this topic today, quitting or choosing. Are you using this judgment of if you quit, it means you're a loser, to keep yourself trapped in a choice that you no longer wish to choose? When does inspiration and pushing past discomfort and, pushing past discomfort to create something that you know is possible, when does that turn into judgment and unawareness? And then, do you know what I'm saying? Like, when do you start being inspired, and when do you stop knowing that something amazing is possible, and so you push and you push and you push past your discomfort? When does that turn into this unawareness? What is it that I want to say here? When does that become, when do you become unaware? Like, when do you start judging? Where are you unwilling to see when that changes, when the energy of that changes? And where are you using the judgment of being a quitter to keep you unaware of when a creation is asking to change? Do you get what I'm saying? It's so fun to speak about energies and try to put words to it. So, how much unawareness has to be used? How much do you have to close your eyes when you are worried about being judged as a quitter? How much unawareness does that create? Okay, there. I think that's it. How much unawareness has been created in your life from being worried about judgment? And how much have you turned your creations to crap? How much have you killed your creations because you are judging that if you don't continue with them, that you're a quitter? Do you get that? So let's just clear that because it's giving me like blurry vision over here. So everything that is, all of the unawareness that has been created with the judgment of being a quitter, will you please destroy and uncreate all of that? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. So if we didn't have the judgment in place of being a quitter, the wrongness of quitting, would we more easily be able to see when our creations are asking to change, or when they are saying, I've served my purpose and now something else needs to be created? If we keep pushing because we believe that we should never quit, how much are we killing what we're creating? So where does all of this come from? And where are all the places in our lives that you're doing this, that we're doing this? Your business, your job, your relationships, school, your body. There are so many places in our lives where we use the judgment of never quitting, where we use it as a judgment, that we push and push and push and then kill our creations and likely kill our bodies and kill all of our sparkle and all of our spark and creativity because we are functioning from the judgment of being a quitter is bad. What do we learn about quitting when we're kids? So essentially, we learn that quitting is bad, right? When you're in school, we are told not to quit, keep studying, don't give up. And, this is not bad. Like, please don't understand me. I am not saying that it's wrong to encourage someone not to quit or to encourage yourself to never quit. Tenacity is amazing and perseverance is amazing and it's great. What I want to talk about here today on the show is when we start confusing giving up and quitting with changing something different, and when and where we become very blind and very unaware of the energies behind something that are shifting and changing, and we don't pay attention to them because we are in judgment of being a quitter. Yes, very a subtle distinction, yes. Just looking in the chat room, by the way, if you're wondering who I'm talking to, you can join us in the online chat room on a2zen.fm. In the upper right-hand corner, there's a little link that says chat room. You can click it and log in with your name or a pretend name and come and play with us in the chat room. You can type your question there, type your comments. It's lots of fun. Okay, we need to take a break, and then we are going to come back and talk more about quitting or choosing. So you're listening to Messy Adventures in Living on a2zen.fm. I'm Petrina Fava. Don't go anywhere. We will be back very soon.
Do you wait until all the traffic lights are green before you get in your car? Of course you don't. Are you waiting until you have everything perfect to begin living? Most of us have learned not to take any steps until we have all the information to make the right choice. What if the opposite is true? What if it's choice that creates awareness? Are you willing to make lots of messy choices so you can begin to see the possibilities that you didn't even think existed? Listen for Messy Adventures in Living radio show with self-declared messy living expert Petrina Fava every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 Central, 7 Mountain, and 6 Pacific on a2zen.fm. How much more expansive would your life be if you were willing to get messy with your choices?
What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you're far greater than you've ever given yourself credit for? What if it's time to know the gift and the contribution you are to the world and to like yourself a lot more? Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. Asking questions opens doors to infinite possibilities. And it's not about finding the answer. It's about being the question. Always. What I'm inviting you to step into is something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Newton, Da Vinci, Gandhi, Picasso, and Aristotle all knew to be true. What if no question is too big or too small? What if anything is possible for you? What if together we could create a kinder, gentler, happier world? Is now the time? Go to beingyouclass.com and sign up for a free video series, My Gift to You. beingyouclass.com. What if you, truly being you, are the gift and change this world requires? beingyouclass.com.
You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living with Petrina Fava. To participate in today's show, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. In the UK, 033-0001-0625. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also ask questions or comment by email by sending to Petrina at petrinafava.com. Now, here's Petrina with more Messy Adventures.
Welcome back to Messy Adventures in Living. I'm your host, Petrina Fava. Thanks for joining. If you're just jumping in, our show today is called Quitting or Choosing. So before we continue with our topic, I want to say something because I forgot to mention it at the beginning of the show. Guess what? Today is Messy Adventures in Living 1-year anniversary. Yay! Oh, I can't believe I forgot to mention that at the beginning. So silly. So Messy Adventures in Living started on the air on a2zen.fm last year on October the 5th, and today is the 3rd. So it's our 1-year anniversary. Amazing. I've been on the air for 1 whole year. God, what a huge contribution to my life this radio show has been. Honestly, it's something I never would have imagined. I really chose it because, I chose it actually because it was light. I'll be really honest. And it was playful and it felt like fun. And, it's the tool we use in Access called Light and Heavy that is, the truth, what's true for you will make you feel light, and what's a lie for you will make you feel heavy. And when I was talking about having a radio show with my friend Petrina Fava, who owns the station, and I'd been a guest a couple of times, it was always kind of made me giddy and always felt extremely expansive. And so when I chose it, I knew that it was going to be fun, and I knew it was going to be expansive, and I didn't really know how it was going to do that. But I really just wanted to show up more and wanted to be seen and heard more. I was getting really tired of hiding, and I was having fun being a guest on radio shows. I thought, my God, it would be so cool to have my own show. And so here I am. So, if you're thinking that you could never do something like this because you're not an expert at anything, I really challenge you to reconsider that point of view. What's been really fun about doing this radio show is that I have allowed myself to not need to have everything lined up straight and perfect before I start, and not need to feel like I have to be an expert before I talk about something. Actually, many times, most of the shows that I've created, if not all of them, they have been about topics that are, things that come up for me personally, things that are niggling at me, sudden awarenesses that I have, and I think, God, that would be a great radio show. A lot of times they're about topics that I actually don't know a lot about, quote unquote. I think I don't know a lot about. And so I've often challenged myself to create radio shows because I know that as I create the radio show and as I'm talking for the hour, I really get one awareness after another, like just one aha moment after the other, just by creating a radio show that I'm supposed to be an expert about. Not true. So anywhere in your life that you feel like you have to be an expert before you get started, really challenge you to consider that as an interesting point of view. And, if something is light and fun and expansive, jump in, get messy, choose, even if you don't know how it's going to show up. And I wonder what magic that will create for you. So thank you to all of you who have been listening to Messy Adventures in Living over the last year. And, of course, a huge, huge thank you to all of the producers on A2Zen.fm and Christine McIver, who is the owner, for having my back all the time and for being my cheerleaders. They're such a great team of people, and I'm so grateful. Amazing. Okay, so back to the topic, right? So we're talking about quitting or choosing. And before we went to break, we started to look at, how early we learned this in our childhood. So what do we learn about quitting when we're kids? We learn that quitting is bad, that you suck if you give up. It means you have no morals. It means you're fickle, you're weak, you can't fight. If you give up, it means that you can't fight. So, what is it about fighting that we think is valuable? Or why do we think that there has to be those two extremes? Either you fight or you quit, right? What if that's not all there is? What if there's something else? You often hear people say, I'm a fighter, not a quitter. Well, what if you didn't have to be either of those? So everywhere we have decided that we have to be either a fighter, and if you're not a fighter, it means you're a quitter. And everywhere we're unwilling to see all the shades in between, like maybe asking questions, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. So everywhere you've slotted yourself into one of those categories, either you're the fighter or you're the quitter, would you like to give that shit up and stop labeling and be willing to be everything? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. Okay, so what does this look like in your body when you're a kid? So maybe you started taking piano lessons. And it was fun for a little while, and then you got bored, and you didn't want to take piano lessons anymore. And your parents said, "Hey, don't be a quitter. You can't give up so easily." Or then you decide that you want to learn a different instrument, guitar, and you play it, and it's exciting for a while, and then you're like, "Okay, I wonder what violin would be like." And so you jump from one instrument to the next, the next, the next. And how much judgment did you receive about not being able to stick to anything? When really you were a bundle of curiosity and a bundle of creativity and you could see all of the shiny things, and you wanted to put your feet in your hands and tap into all of the amazing energy of everything, but you were labeled as a quitter. And so you shut yourself down, and you decided you had to pick one thing and stick to it. Okay, so did you notice what happened to your body as I was talking about that? This tool, Light and Heavy from Access, is very cool. The truth will make you feel light, and a lie will make you feel heavy. So it just happened for me when I was talking about this. So, you wanted to learn about piano, and then you were excited, and then all of a sudden the energy changed, and you're like, okay, yeah, piano. What about guitar? And then that energy changed, and then you're like, okay, yeah, guitar, that's cool. I wonder what violin is like. How expansive does that feel, right? And then you started being judged, and you started being called a quitter. Why can't you stick to one thing? You quit every instrument. Why are you quitting? And then you started to judge yourself, and you started to take those judgments into your body. Can you feel how contracted that feels and how small and tight that feels? It's a lie. If it's heavy, if it's contracted, it's a lie. So everywhere you bought other people's lies about being a quitter, when really you were a bundle of curiosity and a bundle of creativity, and everywhere you shut down that creativity and shut down that curiosity and placed yourself in a small box of choosing one thing for fear of judgment, will you please destroy my create all that? Why? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyond. Yeah, people called you flaky. Thank you, Keisha, in the chat room. Yeah, flaky, fickle, unable to make a decision. Are you actually unable to make a decision, or do you actually desire to choose everything because you know that everything is amazing and you want to tap into all of the awesomeness of this world? Right? But no, we judge. Judgment kills creations. So what is there besides judgment? Well, there's questions. So, what if, okay, so hold on, squirrel. What else about being a kid? Let's go there. What else about being a kid? You joined the track and field team, and then your body started hurting. Like, I really want to talk about this, because how much do we judge quitting with our bodies, right? Quitting diet, quitting the gym, quitting cycling. Like, how much do we push our bodies to the extreme when our bodies are not asking for that? How much do we push our bodies to the extreme because we do not want to be a quitter? I recently joined the gym after really a lifetime of actually judging being at the gym. And I decided to see that as just an interesting point of view, and I joined a gym and showed up and actually discovered that my body actually quite likes it. And when I go, I make sure that I ask my body, hey body, like, what would you like to do today? How much would you like to do today? Are you done? So I ask questions continuously when I'm there. And I also look around and I observe, and I pot and pock myself when I go to judgment, but I observe people, and I can really see when people are working out from a space of judgment, and when they're working out from a place of fun, or asking their body questions. So how much have you been pushing your body to the extreme with total unawareness and total disregard and total unkindness to your body because you refuse to be a quitter? And everything that is, will you destroy and create it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and palm, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. What if you could ask your body, would you like to choose this? So I just, very quickly, I would like to, so I do this thing where I really like words. I'm a little bit of a word nerd. So once in a while I like to go to a dictionary called Etymology Online, that looks at the etymology of words. And etymology is the study of the original meaning of words. And it's really interesting to go to a very old dictionary and see what the original meanings of certain words were, because often you'll find that the meaning has changed so much over hundreds of years. And in this case, when I looked up quit, the energy of the word is actually very, very different than the way it was originally intended. So actually, I'm going to just tease you with that, and we're going to go to break. And when we come back, we will look at the etymology of the word quit and the energy on it and how different it is than how we use it now. So you're listening to Messy Adventures in Living. We're talking about quitting or choosing today. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Do you wait until all the traffic lights are green before you get in your car? Of course you don't. Are you waiting until you have everything perfect to begin living? Most of us have learned not to take any steps until we have all the information to make the right choice. What if the opposite is true? What if it's choice that creates awareness? Are you willing to make lots of messy choices so you can begin to see the possibilities that you didn't even think existed? Listen for Messy Adventures in Living radio show with self-declared messy living expert Petrina Fava every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 Central, 7 Mountain, and 6 Pacific on a2zen.fm. How much more expansive would your life be if you were willing to get messy with your choices?
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living with Petrina Fava. To participate in today's show, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. In the UK, 033-0001-0625. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also ask questions or comment by email by sending to Petrina at petrinafava.com. Now, here's Petrina with more Messy Adventures.
Welcome back to Messy Adventures in Living. I'm your host, Petrina Fava, and you are listening to Quitting or Choosing. So today we're talking about all the judgment that surrounds being a quitter and how this actually impairs your ability to use your awareness of the energy of your creations and recognizing and acknowledging your ability to recognize your awareness of the subtle changes of energy of your creations, of your relationships, of anything that's going on in your life. The label of being a quitter, the heavy, heavy judgments of being a quitter in this reality might actually be squashing your capacity for awareness of when an energy on something is changing and, disabling you or limiting you or, disabling you from choosing. Wow, that's a really interesting word that came up, disabling. How much is your judgment of quitting disabling you from choosing? And everything that is, will you please destroy, not create it all, right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and young. All right, well, are you done being disabled by judgment, and are you ready to start choosing, even if it means you might be judged as being a quitter because, that's not actually what's going on. So now, before we went to break, I was just talking about how I went to an etymologyonline.com that is a dictionary that tells you about the original meaning of words. So much fun. So look at what I found when I looked up the word quit. Now, it's not so much about the words here, it's really the energy. So if you can tap into the energy of the word quit in this reality, quitting, quitter, being a quitter, and now tap into the energy now as I read the original definition of the word. So from
the 12th century, quitting means to repay, to discharge, clear, to clear or establish one's innocence, to release, to let go, to relinquish, to abandon. And also meaning to reward or give a reward, to acquit oneself, to declare not guilty. The meaning of stop doing something is not until the 16th century, to give up or relinquish. Even that word relinquish, it has a very different energy. Do you guys, is it just me or do you get that? Like, again, it's a very different energy to discharge, to clear, to release, let go, relinquish, abandon. The energy on that is so different than the way we use the word quit today, right? So cool. Keisha's like my fellow word nerd in the chat room. Isn't it so cool? And it's not, if you go into the words, like I was trying to go into the words when I first looked at it, it's not about the word, because you could, abandon, you abandon something. But it's a different energy to relinquish, to let go, to abandon. So, if you are creating something, so let's say you're creating a relationship, or that's really funny that word came out of my mouth, because that's not what I meant to say. I meant to say business, but okay, let's go to relationship. If you are creating something and the energy has changed, would you be willing to let it go, to relinquish it, to abandon it, to allow it to become greater? Do you get that? The energy of those words is different. Sometimes you need to be able to recognize when something is done, and not done in a bad way, but it's not even done. Actually, it's not even done, because is anything ever done, right? Like, does energy ever stop? Does it ever die? Can you destroy energy? No. So when you relinquish, when you release, when you abandon, are you actually allowing it to get greater, to become greater, to expand? And yeah, let's look at relationships. That's such a perfect example, because there is a ton of judgment in this reality about giving up on a relationship, especially if you're married, and especially if you're married with children, right? So much judgment. Oh my God. So what if you asked a question? So here is a question. If you're in a relationship and you are aware that the energy has changed and that there's something different is required, what if you ask some questions? If you're concerned because you have kids and you are buying into the conclusions of this reality that divorce is bad and that separating is bad and that kids need two parents and they need a stable home, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not saying that any of that is wrong. Please get this. I'm not saying that any of it is wrong. But it's not right either. If you could just see it as just interesting and then ask some questions, what could you be aware of? If you asked questions like, what's going to create the greatest for all of us here? Can we create something greater together, or can we create something greater apart? Can we create this greater together or apart? This relationship that we have, can we create it greater together or apart? And also, does it have to be either or? Is there something else I haven't considered? What will create the greatest outcome for all of us? Stay, go, or something else that I haven't considered with my brain? Because you know what, guys? There's way more than just your brain. There's something else called your awareness, your knowing. We've never learned to tap into that, and that's what asking questions does. It allows you to tap into your awareness, because I forgot to mention a very important point. Asking a question is not about getting an answer. It's about getting the awareness, tapping into the energy, using these tools, light, heavy, asking a question to create awareness, not asking a question to get an answer. I know it's a crazy idea, but I challenge you to play with it, because it's pretty cool. So where else do we judge ourselves for quitting? Job, right? How much? Not so much. I feel like not so much this generation that's coming up, or our generation, but way back, 20, 40, 50 years ago, like I think about my own parents, there's this value in sticking with one company for 30 years, or sticking it out to get a pension. And, that's not flying anymore. I see, as I see new nurses joining our team, I see that they don't buy into that anymore. They don't buy into the sticking to one company for 25 years anymore because they want to explore. They know that they can do and be more than one thing. So for many years, the idea of quitting your job because you think it's boring has been so enormously frowned upon. And what if that's not wrong? Are you quitting, or are you actually aware of a different possibility? Right? What about your business? Did you start a business and then you were aware of a change in energy, a shift in energy, but you stuck with it because you decided that if you didn't stick with it, you were a loser, you were a quitter? Ask a question: am I quitting, or am I aware of something? Am I aware of a change in energy? And so now what's required? Because so often the idea of quitting something doesn't mean that it's ending, that it's finishing. It can mean that it's changing. So, how much did what you started off with in your business, how much of it actually desires to contribute to you, but you're not letting it because you're not allowing it to change, because you've decided that if you quit is bad. But is your business asking to change? Did it start as something? Was that the starting point? Did it actually, did that serve its purpose the way it was? And now it's trying to grow into something greater, and it's trying to encourage you to go somewhere greater, and you're not letting it because you are afraid of being a quitter and everything. That is everywhere you are destroying your business because you are not allowing it to grow for fear of being a quitter. Will you destroy, not create it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, call, nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. And actually, I'd like to clear all of that same stuff on relationships. So where are you not willing to allow your relationship to grow into something phenomenal, maybe something so amazing that you can't even consider with your mind because you're using all the judgments of this reality? Where are you stifling a relationship that could be created as something magical that has never been seen in this reality, or that doesn't fit this reality? Where are you stifling all of that? Where are you not creating something magical for your partner, for you and your partner, and for your children and for your family, because you are afraid of being a quitter? And everything that is, will you destroy and create it all? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. What would happen if you were willing to tap into your awareness and ask some questions instead? Okay, what else? Death. Oh, I must talk about death. Death and quitting. A little bit of energy on there, right? So how much have we decided that if you give up, if you give in to death, you are giving up, right? For anyone who has ever known someone that has a devastating illness like cancer, and we talk so much about don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. And again, like, this is not bad. It's not bad to encourage someone to be tenacious and to persevere and to, be hopeful and to know that something else is possible. This is not wrong. Please understand what I'm saying. But when you function from this very closed and singular and linear point of view of don't quit because quitting is bad and giving up is wrong, when you function from that, how much are you closing doors to possibility? And also, how much pressure does that put on someone who is dying, when they really would like to make the choice to just go? Right? So use your awareness. Like, when does don't quit stop being encouragement and stop being a window to possibility? Like, when does the words don't quit and the energy of don't give up, something else is possible, when does that energy turn into pressure? And when does it turn into judgment? And when does it turn into linearity? And how much are we disabling people who would like to die from their choice by telling them to not quit? And everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, with me on. Suicide ties right in there, right? Suicide and quitting. How much energy is around suicide, and that this is about quitting, that suicide is quitting, and that it's wrong. And, what if it's just a choice? And everything that is and all the energy on that, will you please destroy and create? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And wow, it's actually time to go to break already. So you're listening to Messy Adventures in Living. We're talking about quitting or choosing. And when we come back, we are going to look at the difference in the energy of tenacity and perseverance and encouragement and the judgment of quitting and how to know which one you're doing and what else is possible with all of this. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. So you're listening to Messy Adventures in Living on A2Zen.fm.
Do you wait until all the traffic lights are green before you get in your car? Of course you don't. Are you waiting until you have everything perfect to begin living? Most of us have learned not to take any steps until we have all the information to make the right choice. What if the opposite is true? What if it's choice that creates awareness? Are you willing to make lots of messy choices so you can begin to see the possibilities that you didn't even think existed? Listen for Messy Adventures in Living radio show with self-declared messy living expert Petrina Fava every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 Central, 7 Mountain, and 6 Pacific on A2Zen.fm. How much more expansive would your life be if you were willing to get messy with your choices?
Hey everybody, this is Dr. Dane here, and I would like to invite you to an adventure in being. I've just written and finished a new book known as Being You, Changing the World. Are you one of those dreamers? One of those people who's always known that other possibilities should be available but haven't yet been able to see them be created? Well, I wrote this book for you. In it, you'll find tools, processes, and unique perspectives to change the things you've always wanted to change but didn't know how. In it, you'll find an invitation to a different possibility for a way that we can be in this world that changes not only our lives, but by being us, allows us to contribute to changing everything planet-wide that doesn't work. Are you aware that truly great people, truly being them, is the only thing that has ever created a great change on this planet? Are you willing to step up? Are you willing to be one? Check out a copy of my new book, Being You, Changing the World. I invite you to go to beingyoubook.com for a free gift.
You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living with Petrina Fava. To participate in today's show, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. In the UK, 033-0001-0625. Or you can Skype us at A2Zen.fm. You can also ask questions or comment by email by sending to Petrina at petrinafava.com. Now, here's Petrina with more Messy Adventures.
Welcome back to Messy Adventures in Living. You're listening to the one-year anniversary show of Messy Adventures in Living. Today we're talking about quitting or choosing. Which one are you doing, and how much judgment is there around quitting? And are your judgments of quitting and your unwillingness to be judged as a quitter actually stifling your creations? Are they stifling your relationships? Are they asking to change, but you're forcing them to stay the same in the name of never being a quitter? Our creations are dying. They're asking to morph and change, but we decided that we have to stick it out to the end, and so we conclude them into this box of death. Okay, maybe that's a little bit dramatic, but but how much are we stifling truly our creations because we are judging ourselves as quitting? And again, I am not saying that quitting is right, and I'm also not saying that it's wrong. What I'm trying to get at this hour is that there's so much judgment surrounding being a quitter, and judgment never creates greater. It always kills our creations. So what else is possible with this? How can we get out of the judgment of quitting and into acknowledging our awareness of the subtle changes in energy? What if you're just really aware of the subtle changes in energy And when you acknowledge that and start asking questions, can you actually create something greater? So is there, I wanted to, I saw this meme on Facebook that said, it's an image of a guy holding his hand over his eyes. And I think I posted it in the Messy Adventure, in the Quitting or Choosing Facebook event page. And it's a picture of a guy with his hand over his eyes, interestingly, right over his eyes, closing his eyes, right? Then it says, don't quit. Okay, sorry. Let me just back up for 1 second. Please use this tool light and heavy when you hear this, okay? The truth will make you feel light. A lie will make you feel heavy. So it's a picture of a guy with his hand over his eye. Don't quit. You're already in pain. You're already hurt. Get a reward from it. That makes me practically want to puke. Wow, how much are we waiting for our reward for not quitting? And in the meantime, killing our creations, killing our body, killing ourselves, because we're suffering and waiting for the reward in the end, the reward for not being a quitter. So everywhere you're doing that, everywhere you're waiting for your reward for never quitting, will you please destroy and uncreate and stop that shit? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. Okay, so we just have 5 minutes, and I wanted to quickly look at what is the difference between giving up and quitting, the way we use it in this reality, and tenacity, perseverance. So, quitting, giving up, for me, the energy on it is really about letting judgment take over, right? Giving judgment power over you. You know something amazing is possible. You are aware of possibility. You are aware of your greatness. You are aware that you have capacities, and you know you could create something amazing. Giving up, for me, is about really letting judgment take over, like fear of judgment, judging yourself, giving the judgment power over you and over what you know, the magic that you know you can create. Giving up is also, for me, really about settling back into your comfort zone. Being really unwilling to be uncomfortable, because discomfort being willing to be uncomfortable can really create magic. So, that energy of giving up just is, to me, is like shrinking back into your comfort zone, not acknowledging that you have gifts and capacities that can change the world. Having the belief that you just can't do it, that somehow you're different than everybody else, and that, they're talented, but you're not. Not willing to look and acknowledge your capacities, not willing to look at yourself and acknowledge where you have potency and where you have capacity. To me, that's giving up, not acknowledging your magic, not acknowledging yourself, the belief that you can't do it. Giving up on something that you know is possible and not asking questions. All of it is a bunch of conclusions. If you ask questions, if you are always asking questions, are you ever really giving up? And, what if you didn't buy into the belief that some things are impossible? I read a quote that said, don't quit because something went wrong. Quit because you tried your hardest and nothing made it better. But that's really heavy for me too. Quit because you tried your hardest and nothing made it better. What does that mean? What does trying your hardest and nothing made it better really mean? If you are always asking questions about what else is possible, then you will never be a quitter. Do you get that? Sometimes being aware of an energy that is changing is actually an awareness. It's a capacity. It's your awareness of the subtlety of energy. You're not a quitter. You are an awareness unit. You have enormous awareness of the subtlety of energy. Please acknowledge that. And when something is asking to change, allow it to change. But you can't allow it to change if you're judging yourself as being a quitter, right? Ask questions. There's a great tool on Access. Who does this belong to? Acknowledge that you are actually really aware of other people's thoughts and feelings. And so when you feel like throwing in the towel, and you feel like giving up, and you feel like letting judgment take over, and you feel like you just can't do it anymore, please ask this question. Is this mine? Is this even mine? Or am I aware of somebody else's judgment, somebody else's energies of giving up? So, choose. Don't be afraid to release what's asking to change. Don't be afraid to acknowledge that you are aware of a change in energy. Don't give up on you. Don't give up on what you know is possible, but be willing to acknowledge your awareness. Thank you so much for joining us today. You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living. See you next week. Have a great week choosing. Bye-bye.
Thanks for playing with us on Messy Adventures in Living. Petrina Fava will return next Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Mountain, and 6 a.m. Pacific on a2zen.fm. We'd love to have you join us again. Until then, have fun creating your phenomenal life, mess and all.